In this lecture, I am going to deal with unbalanced transportation problem. So what is unbalanced transportation problem? In previous lectures, I have explained about balanced transportation problem. So what is balanced transportation problem? Suppose the sum of total available quantity is equal to the sum of required quantity, then that problem is called as balanced transportation problem. Otherwise, the problem is said to be unbalanced transportation problem. Okay. So if the sum of all available amounts is not equal to the sum of all required quantities, then such a problem is called as an unbalanced transportation problem. Okay, that means sigma I equal to 1 to m, ai not equal to sigma j equal to 1 to n bj. So here we have two possibilities. Either sigma ai is greater than sigma bj or sigma bj is greater than sigma ai. So we have two possibilities. That is, there is some surplus available amount or there is some surplus required amount. First case, if sigma equal to 1 to m, ai less than sigma j equal to 1 to n bj. That means there is surplus amount required. So how do we overcome this condition? So we have to introduce a dummy origin with some available amount, which is equal to difference of sigma bj and sigma ai. So introduce a dummy origin row in the table with availability to be equal to sigma j equal to 1 to n bj minus sigma e equal to 1 to m ai. So for all these cells, since this is dummy origin row, the transportation cost for 1 unit for all these cells is to be taken as 0. So the unit transportation cost to these dummy cells are all equal to 0. So this is first case. Now second case is sigma I equal to 1 to m, ai is greater than sigma j equal to 1 to n bj. So that means there is some surplus amount available at origin. So to overcome this, we introduce a dummy destination column in the table whose requirement is difference of sigma ai and sigma bj. Since this is dummy destination, similarly the transportation cost per 1 unit for these dummy cells is taken as 0. Okay. So in this way, we balance the problem when the given problem is unbalanced. Okay. So from here we solve the transportation problem as usual. So consider this example. Solve the following transportation problem. So we have 3 origins, S1, S2, S3, 5 destinations, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. These are transportation costs per 1 unit from various origins to various destinations. These are available amounts at origins. These are required amounts at destinations. So we have to solve this transportation problem. So before going to solve, first we have to check whether this problem is balanced or unbalanced problem. First to find sum of available amount, sigma ai, that is 600 plus 400 plus 1000, that is 2000. Then find sum of required amount, sigma bj. So sum of all these values, 450 plus 400 plus 200, 250 plus 300, that is 1600. So sigma ai is not equal to sigma bj. So this problem is unbalanced transportation problem. So here observe, sigma ai is more than sigma bj. That means there is some surplus available amount. So to overcome this, we introduce a dummy destination column in the transportation table whose requirement is equal to difference of these two values, that is 2000 minus 1600, that is 400. Okay. And the transportation cost per unit to all these dummy cells is taken as 0. Since these are dummy origins, these do not affect the transportation cost. So we take the transportation cost for these dummy cells as 0. Okay. So in the table, introduce a column, sixth column, whose transportation costs are 0. Now here we find the initial basic feasible solution by Vogel's approximation method. Already I have discussed it. We solve the transportation problem in 2 steps. In the first step, we find initial basic feasible solution by using one of the methods, that is the least cost method or Vogel's approximation method. In the next step, we optimize the initial solution using UV method. So here I find initial basic feasible solution by Vogel's approximation method. So take this table. So last column, dummy column, whose transportation cost per unit are zeros. Here available amounts, here required amounts. Okay, right. So now what is Vogel's approximation method? So first we find penalties for rows as well as columns. So here write column penalties, the row penalties, here column penalties. What is penalty? Difference between the least cost and next to the least cost. So in first row least cost 0, next to least cost 4. So difference is 4, penalty is 4. Second row least cost 0, next to least cost 2, difference is 2, so penalty is 2. Third row least cost 0, next least 3, difference is 3. Similarly for column, first column least cost 3, next least cost 4, so difference 1. For second column least cost 4, next least 5, difference 1. For third column 4, 5, difference 1. For fourth column 3, 6, difference 3. For fifth column least cost 2, next least cost 4, difference 2. Here 0, 0, so difference is 0. So these are column penalties, these are row penalties. So what is next step? Identify the largest penalty among all these penalties. So the largest penalty is clearly 4. This is for row 1. So in row 1, we identify the least cost cell. So in row 1, least cost cell is this cell, that is 1, 6 cell. So for this cell, X16 equal to minimum of available amount 600, required amount 400. So minimum is 400, right here 400, and circle it. So observe here, column constraint is satisfied. That means at sixth destination, the required amount is 400. So the whole amount fulfilled from first origin. So that means column constraint is satisfied. So cross off column 6. So observe at first origin, out of 600 units, 400 units are transported to sixth destination. So the remaining available amount is 600 minus 400, that is 200. So still at first origin, 200 units is available. Okay, right. Repeat the same process. Since column constraint is removed from the table, so row differences may change, but the column differences remain same. So find the row differences. So first to least cost 4, next to least 5, difference 1. Second row least cost 2, next least 3, difference 1. So here third row least cost 3, next least 4, difference 1. So these are row penalties for the remaining reduced transportation table. These are column penalties. Now identify the largest penalty. The largest penalty is 3 for column 4. In column 4, least cost cell is 24 cell. This is X24 equal minimum of available 400, 250. So minimum is 250. Right here 250 and circle it. So observe here also column constraint is satisfied. So cross off column 4. So remove the column 4. Observe the origin. Out of 400 units, 250 are transported. So remaining available amount at second origin, 400 minus 250, that is 150. Okay, right. Repeat the same process. Find the penalties in the reduced transportation table. Since column is eliminated, row differences may change. First row difference, least cost 4, next least 5, difference 1. Second row difference 2, 4, difference 2, 3, 4, difference 1. So these are row penalties. Still column penalties remain same. Now identify the largest penalty. So we have largest penalty at 2 places, that is for row 2 and for column 5. So arbitrarily you can take any one. There is no rule to break this tie. So arbitrarily I take the largest penalty for row 2. Okay, right. In row 2, least cost cell is 25 cell. This cell. For this X25 equal minimum of available 150, requirement 300. So minimum is 150. Right here 150, circle it. So row constraint is satisfied. So cross off row 2. Still requirement out of 300, 150 are transported. Still requirement is 300 minus 150, that is 150. Okay, right. So now here row is eliminated. So in this case column differences may change. Now calculate column penalties. The first column we have only two cells. One is least cost, another is next to least cost. So 3 5 difference 2, 4 6 difference 2, 5 8 difference 3. Okay. So here column penalties are 2 2 3 and row penalties are 1 1. So identify the largest penalty. So largest penalty is 3 for column 3. So in column 3 least cost is this cell, that is 3 3 cell. So least cost cell in column 3 is 3 3 cell. So X33 called minimum of available 1000, requirement 200. So that is minimum is 200. Right here 200 and circle it. So clearly column constraint is satisfied. So cross off column 3. Observe that third origin out of 1000 units, 200 units are transported. So remaining available amount is 1000 minus 200, that is 800. Okay, right. Now column is eliminated. So row penalties may change. So calculate first row penalty 4 5 difference 1. Third row 4 3 3 4 least 3 next least 4, so difference 1. So now row penalties are 1 1 and column penalties remain same, that is 2 2 1. Okay, right. So identify the largest penalty. Here also we have largest penalty for column 1 and column 2, two places. So that is there is a tie for largest penalty. Arbitrary you can take any one. So arbitrary I take largest penalty 2 for column 1 arbitrarily. Okay. So in column 1 least cost is 31 cell. So X31 is called minimum of available 800, requirement 450. So minimum is 450. Right here 450. Circle it. So clearly column constraint is satisfied. Cross off column 1. Right. At third origin, out of 800 units, 450 units are transported. Remaining available amount 800 minus 450, that is 350. Okay. Right. So column constraint is satisfied. So column is eliminated. Now in the next table, in the reduced transportation table, row penalties may change. So here also we have two cells. So first row penalty is 1. Second row penalty 4 6. Penalty is 2. So these are row penalties in the reduced transportation table. These are column penalties. Okay. So identify the largest penalty. Still we have largest penalty at two places, 2 and 2. Arbitrarily you can take any one of these two. So I take arbitrarily the largest penalty for column 2. In column 2 least cost cell is 1 2. This is least cost cell. So X12 is called minimum of available 200, requirement 400. So minimum is 200. Right here 200, circle it. So that means row constraint is satisfied. So cross off row 1. Cross off row 1. Right. At second destination, out of 400, 200 are fulfilled. Remaining requirement 400 minus 200, that is 200. Now we have only two cells. We need not find penalties. Among these two cells, least cost cell is 35 cell. This is least cost cell. So X35 is called minimum of available 350, requirement 150. So that is minimum is 150. Right here 150, circle it. So clearly column constraint satisfied. So cross off column 5. Right. At third origin, out of 350, 150 is transported. So remaining element 350 minus 150, 200. Okay. So finally we have only one cell, that is 32 cell. So X32 is called available 200, required 200. So minimum is 200. Write here 200 and circle it. Okay. So finally, you get only one cell. For that cell, the corresponding available amount should be equal to the corresponding required amount. So then only the process is correct or the calculation is correct. Otherwise, the calculation is wrong. We have to check it. Okay. So this is the initial basic feasible solution by Vogel's approximation method. So take the fresh table, remove the last column and last row. Just take the basic cells. So this is initial basic feasible solution by Vogel's approximation method. Observe the number of basic cells here. How many basic cells we have? 4, 4, 8. Actually, that number should be equal to m plus n minus 1. That is 6 plus 3 minus 1. Okay, 8. Here all the allocations are strictly greater than 0. So this is non-degenerate basic feasible solution. Okay. So in the next step, we have to optimize this initial basic feasible solution by using UV method or Modi method. Okay. So what is UV method? Right. Calculate U values for rows. For row 1, U1, for row 2, U2, for row 3, U3. And calculate V values for columns. V1 for column 1, V2 for column 2, V3 for column 3, V4 for column 4, V5 for column 5, V6 for column 6. So what is the relation between these two values? For a basic cell I comma j, the relation is Uy plus Vj equal Cij. So for a basic cell, the relation is corresponding U value plus corresponding V value equal cost of the cell. Okay. So here we have 8 basic cells. We have 8 equations or 8 relations, and a number of unknowns are 3 U values and 6 V values. That is total 9 unknowns. So we have 8 equations in 9 unknowns. That is one variable is more compared with number of equations. So arbitrarily we can choose one of the unknowns as some arbitrary constant. Okay. So for that I follow this. Observe the table. Identify the row or column with more basic cells. So in the table, the 4th row contains more basic cells. So arbitrarily I take U3 as some arbitrary constant. So I take it as 0. So U3 equal 0. Okay. So from this relation, if you know one of these two values, either Uy or Vj, we can write the other value just by subtracting from the cost math, from the cost. Okay. Right. So take U3 0 arbitrarily. So consider this basic cell. For this cell, for 3 1 cell. So what is the relation? U3 plus V1 equal cost 3. Substitute U3 0. So V1 equal 3. Okay. Just 3 minus 0. 3. Okay. Similarly for 3 2 cell. U3 plus V2 equal 6. Substitute U3 0. So V2 equal 6. Okay. For 3 3 cell. U3 plus V3 equal cost 5. Substitute U3 0. So V3 equal to 5. Next, consider 3 5 cell. U3 plus V5 equal cost 4. Substitute U3 0. So V5 equal to 4. Okay. Next, consider this cell, 2 5 cell. So U2 plus V5 equal cost 2. So here we know V5. Substitute V5. U2 plus V5 4 equal 2. So U2 equal 2 minus 4 minus 2. Okay. Next, consider this cell, 2 4 cell. U2 plus V4 equal cost 3. So we know U2. So minus 2 plus V4 equal 3. So V4 equal 3 plus 2 5. Next, consider the cell 1 1 2 cell. So U1 plus V2 equal cost 4. So we know V2. So U1 plus V2 6 equal 4. So U1 equal 4 minus 6 minus 2. Next, consider this 1 6 cell. U1 plus V6 equal cost 0. So U1 is minus 2 plus V6 equal 0. V6 equal 2. Okay. So these are U values and V values. Okay. Right. Now we find scalar Pij for each non-basic cell I comma j. So for non-basic cell I comma j, Pij equal corresponding U value plus V value minus cost of the cell. So we calculate this for each non-basic cell. So the other cells, all these are non-basic cells. All these are non-basic cells. Okay, right. First 1 cell, P11 equal to U1 plus V1 minus C11 cost. That is U1 minus 2 plus 3 minus 5. So minus 7 plus 3. So negative. If it is negative, clearly you can write negative. So you need not write the number in case of negative. Okay, right. Next P13. U1 plus V3 minus C13. So U1 minus 2 plus 5 minus 8. So clearly it is negative. Next P14 minus 2 plus 5 minus 6. Clearly it is also negative. Next P15 U1 minus 2 plus V5 4 minus 5. Clearly it is negative. So like that calculate P21 U2 minus 2 V1 3 minus 2 plus 3 minus 4. Negative. Next 2 cell U2 plus V2 minus C22, that is U2 minus 2 plus 6 minus 5. Clearly it is also negative. Next P23 U2 plus V3 minus C23, that is minus 2 plus 5 minus 4. Clearly minus 1, negative. Next P26 U2 plus V6 minus 2 C26, that is minus 2 plus 2 minus 0, so 0. Next P34 U3 plus V4 minus C34, that is 0 plus 5 minus 8, clearly negative. Next P26 U3 0 plus V6 2 minus 0, that is 2. So this is positive. So if the scalar is positive, we have to write that positive number, since we consider positive values. Okay. Right. Now verify the optimality condition. After finding the scalars for all non-basic cells, we verify the optimality condition. What is optimality condition? If all Pij less than or equal to 0, then the present solution is an optimal solution. So here observe the scalars. So one is 0 and another one is positive. All other are negative. So one of the Pij's is not less than 0. Okay. So all Pij not less than or equal to 0. So optimal condition is not satisfied. So present solution is not an optimal solution. So now we have to improve the solution. How do you improve the solution? We find a new basic feasible solution by replacing one of the basic cells by a non-basic cell. For that, first we find entering basic cell. So we consider maximum of positive penalties. So maximum of Pij such that Pij greater than 0. So we have only one positive penalty, that is 2, itself maximum penalty, that is corresponding to 3,6 cell. So P36. Okay. So the corresponding cell is entering basic cell. So 3,6 is entering basic cell. So 3,6 is entering basic cell. Now we find the leaving basic cell. Okay. For that, draw a closed loop from this new cell 3,6 involving some basic cells only. So there is this unique loop starting from this new basic cell involving basic cells only. You have to identify. You can move in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. So start from here. We have to reach to here finally. Okay. So start from here. So I can move in this direction or in this direction. Suppose I move in this direction. From here I can move to this. From here I can move to this. From here I can move to this. From here there is no direction. Okay. So I am not able to move in this direction. So from here to here. Suppose I move to here. Here there is no basic cell. So I am not able to move from here. Next. From here to here. From here to here. From here I can move to this. From here I can move to this. From here I can move to the starting point. Okay. So the loop is from 3,6 to 3,2. From here to here. Then from 1,2 to 1,6. From 1,6 to initial point 3,6. So this is the closed loop involving basic cells only. So loop means any two adjacent cells lie in the same row or in the same column. And 3 or more adjacent cells do not lie in the same row or in the same column. And starting cell is same as final cell. Okay. So this is the closed loop. Or you can move in this direction also. From here to here, here to here, here to here, from here to here. Okay. So you cannot move from here to here, then here to here. Okay. So that means 3 cells lie in the same row. So that violates second condition. Okay. So this is closed loop involving basic cells only. So this is unique loop, whatever the direction, whether it is in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Okay. We have to identify this. Right. So now the loop is starting cell 3 6, 3 2, 1 2, 1 6, and 3 6. This is the closed loop. So now assign alternatively plus and minus to the cells in this closed loop starting from new cell. So assign plus to 3 6, minus to 3 2, again plus to 1 2, and minus to 1 6. Okay. So plus minus plus minus. Alternative assign these cells. Or you can assign this direction also. You get same signs. Plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Okay. Right. Now how do you find the leaving basic cell? We consider negatively signed cells in the loop. Okay. So in this loop, we have 2 negatively signed cells. This is a negatively signed cell. This is a negatively signed cell. These 2 are positively signed cells. Among the negatively signed cells, take the allocations and find minimum value. So minimum of allocations among negatively signed cells. Allocations means number of units to be transported corresponding to that cell. Okay. So these 2 are negatively signed cells. For these 2 negatively signed cells, allocations 400, 200. So minimum of these 2. Minimum of 200 and 400, that is 200. This is for corresponding to 3-2 cell, that is X32. So 3-2 cell is leaving basic cell. So 3-2 cell is leaving basic cell. Okay. So in the next solution, 3-6 is entering basic cell and 3-2 cell is leaving basic cell. And the remaining other cells remain in the solution. Okay. Right. How do you find the new solution? We add new basic feasible solution. We add this minimum allocation to positively signed cells. So add 200 to positively signed cells, these 2 cells. Subtract 200 from negatively signed cells. We subtract 200 from these 2 cells. Okay. So this is leaving basic cell. So 200 minus 200, 0. You need not write this cell. And the other cells not in the loop remain same. Okay. So new basic feasible solution is, consider the structure of the table. Take the previous table. First add 200 to positively signed cells. Add here 200, that is 1-2 cell. So 1-2 cell. Previous allocation 200, add 200, so 400. Next. Another positively signed cell is this one. Add 200 here. This is in the previous solution, it is non-basic cell. So the allocation is 0. Now add 200, 0 plus 200, 200. So here 200. So these 2 are positively signed cells. Next, subtract 200 from negatively signed cell. So this is leaving basic cell. You need not write this one. Subtract here 400 minus 200, that is 200. 16, 200. Okay. So you need not write this 3-2 cell. Since this is leaving basic cell, automatically it becomes 0. 200 minus 200, 0. You need not write this since this is leaving basic cell. Now the remaining cells not in the loop remain same. This is 250, that is 2-4 cell, 250, 150 remains same. Next, this 150 remains same. This 200 remains same. Next, this 450 remains same. Okay, so count the number of basic cells, 4, 4, 8. We get all basic cells. So this is new basic feasible solution. Now verify this solution is optimal solution or not. For that, repeat the same process. Find U values for rows, that is U1, U2, U3, Find V values for columns V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, and the relation is Uy plus Vj equal Cij for a basic cell I comma j. So observe the table, identify the row or column with more basic cells. So clearly third row has more basic cells. So take U30 arbitrarily. So consider the cell cost 0 minus 0, that is V6 0. Here cost 4 minus 0, that is 4. Consider this basic cell cost 5 minus 0, 5. Consider this basic cell cost 3 minus 0, 3. Okay, right. These are the 4 basic cells. Now consider this basic cell. Cost 2, U2 unknown, V5 known. So cost 2 minus 4, minus 2. So U2 minus 2. Consider this basic cell. Cost 3 minus or minus 2 plus 2, 5. That is V4 5. Okay. Next, consider this 1, 2 cell. Cost 4, U1 unknown, V2 unknown. So next, consider this cell. Consider this cell. U1 unknown, V6 known. Okay. So how do you find U1? Cost 0 minus V6 0, that is 0. So U1 is 0. Okay. Now consider this cell. Cost 4 minus U1 0, that is V2 4. Okay. So all V's are obtained, U's are obtained. Okay. So these are U values and these are V values. Now find penalties for each non-basic cell. For first cell P11, corresponding U value 0 plus corresponding V value 3. 0 plus 3. 3 minus cost 5. So 3 minus 5 minus 2, so it is negative. For this non-basic cell, corresponding U value 0 plus V value 5. 5 minus 8 minus 3, negative. For this non-basic cell, U value 0 plus V value 5 minus 6. 5 minus 6 minus 1, negative. For this, U value 0 plus V value 4. 4 minus 5 minus 1, so it is negative. Next, for this, U value minus 2 plus V value 3. Minus 2 plus 3, 1 minus 4 minus 3, negative. For this, U value minus 2 plus V value 4. Minus 2 plus 4, 2. 2 minus 5 minus 3, negative. Next, this value, U value minus 2 plus V3, 5. Minus 2 plus 5, 3 minus 4 minus 1, so negative. Next here, minus 2 plus 0 minus 0, so negative. Here, 0 plus 4 minus 6 minus 2, negative. Here, 0 plus 5 minus 8 minus 3, negative. Okay. So these are scalars for all non-basic cells. Now verify the optimality condition. Here observe the all scalars. So for all non-basic cells, the scalars are negative. So all Pij less than or equal 0. So optimal condition is satisfied. So the present solution is an optimal solution. Okay. So optimal solution is write the basic cells, that is x12 equal 400. Next, x26 equal 200. Sorry, x16 200. Next, x24 250. x25 150. Next, x31 450. Next, x33 200. Next, x35 150. Next, x36 200. This is dummy. So these two are dummy cells, x16 and x36. These two are dummy cells. Okay. Now what is the transportation cost? Minimum transportation cost equal multiply with corresponding unit transportation cost and sum up. So 400 into 4 plus 250 into 3 plus 150 into 2 plus 450 into 3 plus 200 into 5 plus 150 into 4. You need not consider these two since they become 0, since the unit transportation cost is 0. So this is total 5,600. So this is minimum transportation cost. Okay. So what is the meaning of this solution? From first origin to second destination, 400 units are transported. From second origin to fourth destination, 250 units. And from second origin to fifth destination, 150 units, like that. From third origin to various destinations, the amounts are these. So this is transportation schedule, and this is minimum transportation cost.